what's up? Welcome back to my Wellness Patriot channel. It's been a while, so glad I'm finally getting in another video. Today I'm in a little more of a bit of a ranty mood, which I feel like my sons might say that's cringy. Or I just made it cringy and they're gonna say, I can't believe you said that, that's cringy. But I'm a little tired today, so that's just where I'm at, and I might be also a little all over the place because I'm kind of tired. Yeah, I had a neighbor kind of keeping me awake, so that's always fun. And so there's the wellness part of it for today, is that sleep is very good for you, and going to bed at a decent hour actually will give you higher quality sleep. So even if, you know, say you go to bed at 1 or 2 in the morning and you still got 8 or 9 hours of sleep or whatever, the quality and type of sleep you get, I guess, is different than if you go to bed at like before 10 or 11 at night. You get a higher quality, more REM, deeper sleep cycle. So there is our little wellness part. Also, speaking of cringy and stuff, the last video I made, I was talking about Andy Frisella and the 75 Hard, and so I was just listening to his podcast, and he was kind of ranting about how people call it a challenge, and he's like, it's not a challenge, it's a program. And I even like titled my video a challenge recommendation. So it's a program, not a challenge. I wanted to correct that, so I was wrong in calling it that, because it's more for like a lifestyle. It's not something you do and you just complete it and then you just go back to bad habits or whatever. So it is a program. So I just wanted to mention that. So my little rant today, I think most people have heard people kind of doing this rant or whatever, or just saying this. So I might just be repeating something that a lot of people have said, but at the same time, I'm not sure. So there's probably some people that haven't heard it, and whatever, it's my take on the situation anyway. So, and I'm probably, after this video, going to be toast or at least have a strike. We'll see if it survives. So anyway, and then I have a different cup today. My good friend gave me this cup. I love it. So a rant is not complete without having coffee. And my liberal tears one would be more appropriate, but my son has that cup right now. So people think I'm so crazy with that cup. They're like, they see that, they're like, okay. I'm like, this is awesome. They're like, so you drink it, the tears? And I'm like, I don't know, I just think it's funny. Anyway, the thing I was just thinking about is how Governor DeSantis, the governor of Florida, as we know, flew 48 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, and everyone's all in uproar about that. So in a nutshell, now the Democrats are trying to say he engaged in human trafficking, he kidnapped essentially these people, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I just think that the whole situation actually highlights the hypocrisy and fakeness, especially of rich white liberals, because they're supposed to be a sanctuary city, number one. And then it's like, oh, well, they're only a sanctuary city for 15 people. Like, give me a break. You have these signs on your line, like, we stand with immigrants, like, no human is illegal. But then these people come into your community and you call the National Guard and just like immediately deport them. That is clearly so hypocritical if you actually cared. Like, look, Obama had this party under this tent, like pop up one of those tents, and like how many people were like at that party? Like they could have stayed there easily. There's billions and billions of dollars in that community. So there's that. The resources were there. If you like really care as much as you say, you guys are the ones that voted for this, voted for a border that is literally open, even though Democrats lie and say that it's not open. It's open. That's why people coming across and are getting interviewed are saying, oh yeah, it's open. That's how I just walked in and I'm free to do that. You know, so you wanted that. What do you think is going to happen? But of course, they don't want to be the ones to have to deal with these repercussions. They want to live in their little like imaginary bubble of like la la la, like land is land and there's no borders. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work like that. You have some really like nice ideas and stuff, but reality is it just doesn't work like that. It's like so many things like going on in my mind that I can say about that. So I kind of like lost my train of thought, but anyway, that's what happened. So then the people at Martha's Vineyard called in the National Guard and like kicked them out within 48 hours, which is like how that should be handled, but like at the border anyway. I don't mean to sound heartless, and then there's like where lives are like, oh, you don't have compassion and everything. It's just not how it works. Just because you don't want people pouring into your country doesn't make you racist, and it doesn't make you hateful. It's not only Mexican people, for one thing, coming in through the southern border. Like, how would you, if you, like, imagine you were a terrorist or something, like, or a drug cartel or smuggler or whatever, like, how would you come into America? You'd obviously come into Mexico and then go in through the southern border. Anyway, so now the Democrats are, not only are the Democrats accusing him of trafficking and kidnapping people and saying that they, you know, he did that against their will. He had them sign a waiver. So sorry, you like signed a thing. He gave them information about Martha's Vineyard. Fair enough, right? And it's just like, that's so horrible to get flown in an airplane to Martha's Vineyard. So that's so horrible compared to basically like wandering through the desert, possibly getting murdered, the rape that goes on, drowning in a river, like violence from the cartel. But no, like flying to Martha's Vineyard is the horrible thing in this equation. Okay. But the other thing that really pisses me off is that now apparently these illegal immigrants are suing Ron DeSantis. Like, excuse me, you think you're going to walk into our country and you're entitled to sue one of our government officials? Like, you're just entitled to things, and if you don't get it, you're going to sue. Like, get out. Like, go. That part is, it just, I can't even. You're going to come and sue Governor DeSantis. Yeah, so I guess it's like pretty horrible here, so you should probably just, you know, leave, I guess, then. And then the whole point of saying he used them as political pawns. What has Biden been doing this whole time? He like basically made an announcement, the border's open, like come on in, like in the beginning, like right when he got elected. And I know most people haven't actually like seen what was actually going on there, but then so there were thousands of people that came to the border and they were sitting there. And then Biden made this promise to like let a certain amount in per day, but he of course wasn't coming through with what he promised, and they're just all sitting there with literally no bathroom, going to the bathroom on the sidewalk. But like they have Biden shirts on So who is using them for political pawns? You're literally giving them a Biden shirt to show that you are this compassionate person that let all these people into our country, and look, they're like wearing Biden shirts and all this stuff. And then what do? So what did he do with a lot of them? He flew them at odd hours in the night, apparently, to random parts of our country, all red states, of course. So it's like, are you doing this to, like, talk about political pawns, using humans as political pawns? You are shipping illegal immigrants to red states in hopes that they will vote for you and you can then flip the red states. But what Governor DeSantis did is using people as political pawns. Like, how hypocritical can you be? What Governor DeSantis did was highlight the hypocrisy and highlight how they're liars and they don't mean what they say. They actually are using these people as pawns to make themselves, to virtue signal and make themselves like try to make themselves look like these good people, when it came down to it, you just kicked them out faster than any redneck conservative would. Like, get out. Yeah, and then to accuse Governor DeSantis of human trafficking. Like, are you kidding me? Biden's policies at the border are causing a record amount of actual human trafficking going on. And you're going to turn your back to that and look to Governor DeSantis. So not only are you enabling that to happen, and you are helping these cartel, like, the Democrats are the cartel's best friend right now, who are doing the actual human trafficking, child trafficking, sex slavery going on, drugs, fentanyl coming through the border, killing hundreds of thousands of people. But DeSantis is the one that's trafficking. Like, are you just like not that smart? Or like, no, obviously Democrats know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're going to point at someone else and try and say that they're doing it. It's like so narcissistic. It's pretty obvious, but also, I don't remember the exact year or the time that this was proposed, but there is a End Child Trafficking Now Act that was introduced by Republicans, and it was shot down by Democrats. And so essentially what this bill did, it's not the end-all be-all solution, but it was an attempted step forward at ending child trafficking, but the Democrats didn't want it and said no and caused it not to go through. Essentially, you can look it up. My sons told me not to make my videos too long, so what it does is so what people do is they make these like fake families. They say they're married and they say that this is their child. It's not their child. I don't know how I guess maybe parents send them just to try to get their child through, or they kidnap the child. I don't know where they get these children, but they say that this is our child, and because then they will be given asylum. So if they were caught lying and having a child in their possession that is not their child, and they're trying to lie and say that it is, then it gives them way harsher consequences for that. It's a federal offense. It has, a minimum amount of prison time. But the Democrats didn't want that. But yeah, Governor DeSantis is the one trafficking people. it's just insulting to take attention off. For one thing, it's insult. I keep starting these like lists. I'm like number one, and then like I don't say like a number two where I'm like A and there's no B. Told you I'm all over the place today, but it's just insulting to call that human trafficking and kidnapping and to turn your back on what's actually going on. It's just beyond insulting and offensive. So yeah. So anyway, the next thing is, so I was driving around in my car and I was listening to the local. There's this local, mostly conservative radio station. They do have on Michael Knowles, who I like, a few people, and they do this local opinion poll. And so what they thought was important to ask was, do you find it concerning that Trump continues to push QAnon dangerous propaganda? And it said like, that was the gist of what it said. And so then people go online and they vote like yes or no, I think it's concerning or not. But it's also like a loaded question. It's like, do you find it concerning that Trump is pushing dangerous QAnon information and propaganda? It's like, well, obviously, like, there's a correct answer to that, according to them, but, because then you just say no, I don't know. But when I heard that, it's like, you guys are still on that? Like, you're really still on that? Like, you're still talking about QAnon? You can't stop obsessing over Trump. It seems as if he's going to run for 2024, but we actually don't know for sure. He's like in the middle of a presidency that he's not the president. So it's like, what I am concerned about is Biden wandering around, so giving a speech on stage and then wandering around lost. The fact he can't even complete a sentence, I'm quite concerned about that. Why? For many reasons. One reason, it makes us as a country look weak. It's basically one of the main reasons. And it puts us in danger on the world stage. Not only that, does him just looking weak, stupid, crazy, looking like a pedophile, talking about he's giving a speech and he's like, you need to say hi to me to some woman, I guess. And it's like, we go way back. You were 12. I was 30, sounding all creepy. I'm a little concerned about that. I'm a little concerned that he was sniffing little girls and touching them inappropriately on multiple videos. And then when I brought that up, when I would debate with my wonderful Democrat friends, they're like, well, that was his granddaughter. I'm like, they're all his granddaughter, and that makes it okay? Is it okay for your grandpa to just invade your space? Or if you have a daughter, is that going to be okay? It's not okay. That's concerning. Also, what's concerning is him saying these MAGA Republicans are an extreme threat to our country, basically, essentially, is what he said. And then I see that an 18-year-old teenage boy was murdered by a liberal because of his conservative views. And so everyone's told that MAGA Republican people are dangerous because why? I don't even know. Because we're conservative, we believe in conservative values. A lot of us believe in Christianity and actually being decent people and working hard for our money and actually earning our money and having secure borders. The list goes on. I don't see how any of that is dangerous, yet extrematizing, which is not a word, I think I just made that up, a whole group of people, like pretty much half of the country, because nearly 80 million people in truth voted for Trump. Oh, that's going to get me shut down right there. So you're going to extrematize that many people, and including, I mean, all races of people, just many, many walks of life. It's not just white, whatever, like you think it is. So, and then people get killed for that. That's dangerous. That's actually dangerous. So there's that. So yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. Not like QAnon. You guys are still on that? Like, people that were down with that, we called it Q. We actually called it Q, and I haven't seen a Q drop even in quite a long time. Like, should I go into that? Back in the day when I first saw them, to be honest, like, at first I fell for the media lies, and I hated Trump, and then I saw things that they said, and it actually woke me up, and it caused me to then go and actually listen to things Trump said, just watch his speeches and put it into context. And I was like, hold on. And I was just like so mad how the media would just literally just cut clips out. And what happened to a non-biased media? They just give their opinion, even locally, like everywhere. They say like racist or rude, or like, I don't know, they add in their own adjective. That's not a fact, that's an opinion. We learned that in like 2nd grade. So yeah, that was that local opinion poll. But that just, and I know I haven't heard the answer yet, and I'm just like, I hope I'm not in the car listening to the radio when they give that answer, because I already know they're gonna be like, 85% of people in Humboldt think that it's concerning. Like, it's like, that's why I'm over being here. But QAnon, like, seriously? But that's just a way that they group people together, put labels, like, you're a MAGA Republican, you're an election denier, you're anti-vax. It's like, I know a lot of people that didn't get I better watch my words, which really sucks, but didn't get the, but they got other ones, if that makes sense. So it's like, no, like, why do you decide who's anti this or anti that? Like, you put that label on people to group them together to create more division, being a party that claims that you are for unity. Like, that's obviously BS. You're not for unity. You're not. So yeah. So anyway, my next video, I've been wanting to do a video about basically milk being the main part of it, which sounds kind of boring, but when you dive into it, it's kind of interesting. So, first of all, the concept that raw milk is illegal in many parts of the United States, yet there's all these crazy ingredients in our junk food that are illegal in other parts of the world. There's just so many aspects to that. They make raw milk illegal, yet these hormones and these other additives they're putting into the milk are possibly more, I know they're more harmful. And it all comes from this whole germ fear thing, which the whole COVID thing played into big time, and it just plays on people's fear. So there's some more research I want to do in regards to that, it involves Louis Pasteur. That's where pasteurization comes from. And I want to tell you guys about some experiments he did where it's like, obviously he is a fraud, but now we pasteurize all our milk. There's more to it. There's the FBI raiding farms and having them dump out all this milk, taking their sheep. So there's a lot to it that I want to talk about. And then and then we're told that animal products, animal food is bad for us. Now Bill Gates wants everybody to be vegan and all this stuff. And I was vegetarian for 20 years. And when I heard that, this flag went up. And I remember hearing all these studies about red meat is so bad for you, this and that. And I realized that was coming from the same people that were lying to us for the past 2 years about this other thing that happened the past 2 years, which I already said. So I don't know why I'm even trying to be careful anymore. But anyway, so that is going to be things like that. That is going to be my next video. I'm going to touch on that. Oh, what I was about to say though is, so then people think that animal products are bad for you, so they go to the store and they get like Silk almond milk or whatever, and then those have other ingredients in it that are bad for you. And then seed oils is a whole thing that I just learned about. There's all these seed oils that are not good for you in all these foods. So I just want to talk about that. Finding a good source of raw milk is a good idea. It's one of the realest foods left, since even with vegetables, our soils have become super depleted, and then we've got people spraying crazy stuff in the sky that's falling onto the plants as well and getting into the water system. It's just all crazy, and it becomes a little depressing, and you think like, what's the point when you think too much about it? But you have to try. You have to at least try it, and there's things we can do. I think my point is that I think raw milk is a good thing. If you can find a source of it, I recommend doing that. We have a lot of local farms around here in Humboldt County. Miraculously, where we live, it is not illegal here. So that will be my next video. So this one was kind of long. So thank you for hanging in with me while I was tired, and I am in a ranty mood, which probably a lot of us get into a mood like that when we pay attention to what's going on and we see the hypocrisy, especially of the left, where they're literally doing a thing and then they point over and they say, you're doing this thing that we're literally doing, but what we're doing is way worse, and we're causing so much damage. And what the left is doing is actually dangerous and actually destructive. But then they're going to point over to someone like Ron DeSantis, who has defended children and is doing a great job, and say that he's doing something that is horrific, which he is clearly not doing. And that should just discredit them in everyone's eyes. So I don't know what the issue is, but why that's not obvious to like thousands of people. But I think it's becoming more and more so. Yeah, so that's about it. So yeah, thanks for hanging in there with me while I was all over the place. But just had a few things on my mind that I wanted to say. So kind of more the patriot aspect of it, touched on a little wellness. And I will just end by saying that something that, and I'm going to say this again, I think, because this is going to be like my thing now. Well, God is my thing. But that was very cringy. But so the other day our pastor said something very interesting to me that really stuck with me, as a lot of things he says do, but this thing in particular was, he said, I want to hear one politician, just any politician, not only say, God bless America, but say God bless America and America bless God. That is the problem. So many turning away from God and not having God to answer to, and forgetting what our values are, consequently, is the root of pretty much everything, not everything going on. And I am currently reading the Bible. I decided I want to read it from start to finish and put everything into perspective. And what I am seeing repeatedly so far is, and I'm in the book of Nehemiah now so far. So before there was even kings that were rulers of the people of Israel and kings of Judah, the people of Israel continued to, even before then, just throughout the Bible so far, I'm saying this in a really weird, confusing way. So they would follow God's law, and they would be blessed, and God would be with them, and things would essentially be going well for them, and they would prosper. Then they would turn away from God and do things like follow other gods and make altars to them, just worship other gods that either aren't real or aren't our Lord God. And what God had said was, when they do that, he will give them into the hands of their enemies. And what is going on right now is pretty clear to me that that is what is happening. And when America was first founded, it was founded as a Christian nation. I know a lot of people don't think that's true, but that is true. And where we're at today, we have, not we, but I guess we as a nation, have done this whole separation of church and state thing, have tried, there's people that have and are trying their best to take God out of everything, turn away from God, act like he is not real, and we are being given into the hands of our enemies. So when we as a nation stop and say, God bless America and America bless God, and we thank God for what we have in our country and turn back to God, then things can turn around. So I'll just end it there. God bless America and America bless God. You guys have a good one. I'll see you soon.